Welcome to 6 African Trade Talks, the show that brings you closer to the intra-Africa trade business world. In this episode, our guest is Mr. Make Whitfield. Mr. Whitfield is the president of the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers, AAAM, and Nissan Africa. Mike, welcome to 6 African Trade Talks. How are you?
Hi, Chad, and thank you for having me on your Trade Talks today.
Thank you. Mike, what is the AAAM's key objective around the automotive show and forum in Durban in November?
Well, I think even before I answer that, I must really just put into context, as you know, the AAAM has an objective to contribute to the development of automotive and industrialization of automotive in Africa. And our objective is very much working with those governments and stakeholders who have and share that vision, and to create the policy framework and see how we can create a sustainable automotive industry in countries in Africa, which ultimately will contribute towards the ongoing industrialization and manufacturing in the African continent. The auto show in the forum in Durban in November, we see as an ideal opportunity to network, to bring together like-minded people, to identify the opportunities, to debate and see what the obstacles are, and at the same time see how we can put solutions together. So we see the role of the forum and the show in Durban to showcase not only those brands that are active in Africa, but more importantly, to engage in active dialogue and discussion to address those issues that people see as hindrances to creating a free trade zone, to create the free flow of automotive in Africa for Africa. So it's part of a journey that we started many years ago when the AAAM was founded, and we continue on that journey, and we're making some very good progress, I think, when we look at cases like Ghana, the discussions that we have ongoing in Egypt, the discussions starting in Ethiopia, and so it goes on as we move through Africa. So certainly I see this as a great opportunity to address the road forward.
Certainly. How do existing OEMs in Africa benefit from and contribute to this industrialization?
Well, I think if we look at Africa, which has today accounts for 1.3% of global automotive sales, whereas we have approximately, 15% of the world's population, it is a huge opportunity. Our average number of vehicles per thousand is 42 versus a global average of about 148. So without doubt, all OEMs see Africa as one of the last frontiers from an automotive perspective. We come back and we look at Africa today, there's only really 3 real automotive hubs. You have 2 main, with one developing being South Africa, Morocco, and Egypt to a lesser extent. And then, as you're aware, in Ghana, we have the advent and start of what will hopefully become a significant player in automotive for West Africa, with the current policy starting to move forward. Toyota already assembling there. Volkswagen, Toyota already assembling. Nissan, ourselves, due to start early next year. So there's definitely momentum. So what does it mean to OEMs and how can we benefit? I think what we benefit is 2 things. One is that we can be part of a free trade agreement. We can be part of this future potential in Africa. And at the same time, we can contribute towards industrialization and manufacturing. And automotive industry brings high level of skills, I think good well-paying jobs. And certainly we don't see every single country in Africa building vehicles. However, if one can get to a point of originating rules of origin coming out of Africa, there's no reason why different members of the African continent can play a role in providing components to those that will be assembling vehicles.
Certainly, quite exciting times ahead of us. Can you briefly describe the status of automotive manufacturing in Africa, touching on the obstacles and opportunities?
I think, as I started to alluding to in the previous question, the current status is that you have Morocco and South Africa producing between them just over 1 million vehicles. and Egypt pretty flat at 90,000 vehicles. And that's really where we are, with both limited number of supplier-based, mainly sitting in Morocco, South Africa, and to a lesser extent Egypt, the supply industry. So it's there, but only developing, if we look at Ghana, for example. So what are the obstacles? The obstacles are we obviously have the affordability issue, so we need to address one key thing which we'll be touching on at the forum and the conferences is vehicle financing. How do we give people access to finance? That's number one. Number two, the other obstacles is that there's a huge inflow of used vehicles into the market. Many vehicles that don't meet the safety standards and homologation requirements. And in addition to that, there's also a lot of nearly new vehicles that come in. So if we look at markets like Nigeria, for example, where you have over 200 million people, and we have a case where this year, or the year just passed, total new vehicles officially that came into the country or in the country is 10,000, whereas there's probably another 300 to 400,000 grey imports that come into the market. So I think one of the objectives we have to do as countries, as Africa, is look at how do we reduce that inflow into Africa and rather create that ecosystem within Africa. And that certainly will give access to a far bigger market to OEMs going forward. So opportunity is that if we just look at the emerging middle class, the growing income levels, we take an example. Let me give you an example of if we compare Africa and India. Average population in Africa, India, 1.4 billion. GDP per capita, not a big difference. But in Africa, we have an order market of 1.2 million. In India, you have an order market of 4.4. Why? Long-term policy, long-term vision, and developing. So the opportunities are huge, and I don't think any of us can ignore those opportunities. But what we do need to do as Africans, as countries in Africa, we need to embrace that opportunity and see how we can ensure that we create, whether it's components or actual manufacturing of vehicles, but can contribute to ensure that part of that future market, potentially 5 million by 2035, that market of 5 million, a fair number, is represented by vehicles assembled and made in countries within Africa.
Interesting figures and facts. Thank you very much for sharing. How significant is the African Free Trade Agreement and why?
The Africa Free Trade Agreement obviously is significant. If we look back, it was signed not so long ago. Now the real work starts on how we can create the opportunities within that, automotive being one of it. One of the key areas that we need to look at is how we find a win-win rules of origin for all players in the industry and on the continent. But it certainly creates one of the world's largest trading blocks when one looks at it. Once it is up and running, certainly it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of obstacles in that, but it's not only creating the opportunity to trade between countries, it also needs to address issues of logistics and the flow of both people and goods in the market. But it certainly is a way to create a trade bloc, a trade area that has the potential to enable and contribute towards both manufacturing and industrialization within the continent, which today we lag a long way behind.
My business is growing. Thanks to Advocado Africa, digital marketing is the way to go. I get to know what my customers want and how they feel in real time. Besides, I choose how much to spend. I feel in control. If you want to take control of your marketing, contact Advocado Africa now. Visit www.advocadoafrica. Advocado Africa. We mind your business.
Africa is a continent full of potential, but potential means nothing if we don't take action to create value. Let us take action. Thank you for listening to this episode. Don't forget to post and share this episode on your social media platforms. It will help us reach our mission of sharing knowledge about intra-Africa trade and making it available to as many people as possible. Let us grow our continent. We can go far, fast, together. If you can please leave a review on our podcast page or on Apple Podcasts. See you next time.